We are good to go. Welcome into the Nifty Q show. We are interviewing founders, leaders, and builders in the NFT space. Today, I am sitting with Beastive's project lead and Big PT chief blockchain consultant of Veggiemates. We'll be touching on the current bear market sentiment, building outside of Ethereum, their upcoming Junkies release, roadmap, and much more. Guys, this is my first bear market interview. As you can tell, it's throwing me off. Would like to say welcome to both of you here today. Happy to have Veggiemates in and both of you, man. How are you guys holding up?
Doing all right, man. Just you just gotta flip the chart upside down, and you'll be just fine.
How are you doing today, Paul?
I'm great. I'm great. Trying not to get phased by prices and things like that, and just keep focusing on, building and making connections.
Yeah, I want to talk on a little bit here as you guys have an upcoming release. And the last time you guys had a release, it was in a bear market kind of situation as well. But as far as like just current market sentiment, how are you guys feeling about just where we're headed? Are we going up? We going down? Where do you guys think we're headed in the midst of kind of all of this craziness that's happening right now?
Yeah, I never know. I never try to predict market action. I just buy stuff I believe in and just hodl. Like I'm a holder, man. I will diamond hands anything to my detriment sometimes. But overall, as a strategy, I do believe in the technology. I don't know exactly when and what is gonna be the long term answers, but yeah, for me, it's just another day in crypto. Unfortunately, I'm pretty numb to this stuff.
Yeah, it's the same with me, and that's why staking's so attractive to me and was in the beginning when I first got in, because I plan on holding, so might as well just earn some interest while you're holding and contribute to the network.
Do you guys feel like the experience that you had in like 2017 and 18, you guys said you were investing a little bit back then. Do you feel like that experience has helped you a little bit?
Yeah, as much time as you can spend in the space always helps you get familiar with how volatile it is, for sure.
Yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster. I definitely took it a lot harder back then. But yeah, it gave me thick skin because my portfolio, yeah, it grew faster than I ever thought it would grow, and it crashed faster than I ever thought it would crash. So um, definitely I learned from that like Paul said, it is a volatile market, but uh, in the long term, I didn't sell anything. I held on to it. A lot of my coins went to zero. I bought a bunch of garbage back then during the ICO craze,
Hmm.
but a lot of the good ones they came back, and I actually, even till this day, I'm still in a very much a net positive, even though I might not be at like my all time peak. Long term, it's still been a really, I mean, it's been my best investment I've ever had.
One of the biggest problems with that was telling people in 2017 and then going around being such a big advocate for it, and then they bought in kind of later in the year, and then it just went all down, and then they cashed out for a loss, and then
Hmm.
that was their whole crypto experience, and they haven't like revisited since then. So that was kind of hard, bouncing back from that, getting people to believe in the space again.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
we're
there's.
probably going to go through that over and over again.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that that's their only experience, right? If they had maybe got in right at the beginning of the cycle, they'd still be here today. So I'm sure I lost a couple friends here and there too, as I told them to buy the top on EOS and some other projects in 2017. But it's good to see everybody here in the chat as well. We are sitting here having a great discussion. I know the sentiment isn't the best in the market right now, but we're going to be pushing through. I think anybody who can survive again to the next cycle is going to do extremely well in the crypto space. It's kind of the only real rules. If you can survive and you kind of pick up on where the momentum is headed, you're going to do okay. So I'm glad that everybody here is with me in 2022. So we're going to talk on a little bit about that origin for you guys. What were you guys doing before crypto? Paul, I'd love to get that story of you, obviously with Good Charlotte as well. That's an amazing a ride, I'm sure. So, what were you guys doing before you got into crypto and NFTs, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah, so I started the band Good Charlotte with Benji and Joel in high school, and right after high school, we just didn't go to college. We just were committed to making that our thing, and it worked out. And yeah, so that band has been together now for 26 years or something crazy like that. And me with crypto, so my wife actually told me about it first. Or actually, it was my wife's mom told me about it first, and she told me to look into it. And in the process of looking into it, I got really swept away with the idea of a decentralized economy, global economy. And plus just the whole process of learning how to buy and transfer from one exchange to another. It was really difficult back then to figure it out for me anyway, and I just dove in so hard that I haven't gotten back out yet. I wake up every day and still think about crypto, look at charts. That's when I really got into graphs, and then that kind of flipped a whole switch on with me in investing, period. Um, but so what I've been doing outside of Good Charlotte is I've been going to school. I've been working on getting educated. So because what I want to do is work in this space, like as like the
Hmm.
thing I do after the band, or maybe both at the same time. So I'm getting my education up to par, so I can just try to be as contribute as much as possible. So I'm currently at Berkeley getting a math degree, and I'm at the blockchain. I'm in the blockchain at Berkeley community, and just trying to continue to build crypto connections. Because what's the wildest thing about this? I've been fortunate enough to go and travel around a lot of the world. Seeing the global connection that's happening in this space is really the thing that's blowing my mind, and seeing the potential for where it's going to lead in the future.
So I've been getting educated a little bit on music NFTs. We have a show every Monday called Music Mondays. A couple of our creators created on our network. They bring on different people in that sector. With your background, obviously with Good Charlotte, one, did it or did any of the other guys get into crypto? Did you kind of get them into the space? And then is there like a potential to have music NFTs be implemented to music with Good Charlotte?
Yeah, I remember in 2017, we were on tour. I went out to dinner with Benji and Joel and literally sat and tried to explain Bitcoin to them by drawing, like, drawing how it works out on the menu. Um, and yeah, they weren't into it. They weren't. But then that year when I turned 20K into like 100K within a month or whatever it was, because it was just crazy that year. Um, that got their attention, but they didn't really get in until a few years later, and then it was mostly just Joel who was into it too. So me, Joel, and Brian had a little text group where we would just chill, not chill, but like just tell each other about stuff that we're into. And yeah, so now everybody's into it. I think when I told them last year about my so I bought a CryptoPunk in 2019 for half an ETH and then sold it last year for 100 ETH. And when I told them about that, that got their attention.
As it usually does.
Yeah, it's always the money that brings people in. But as far as like the future of music and ownership and crypto and NFTs, we're just at the beginning. I don't even think we fully understand where it's going to end up. And I really like to think that we're going to be a part of that. We're already trying to be as in the space as much as possible. The band. So me personally, my involvement with crypto is very separate from the band. It's just my own addiction, my little faith that I got going on right now.
Mm.
But as the band is getting more into it, I'm feeling very optimistic that maybe we'll have a decentralized website, a way to connect with our fans on a new level with NFTs and stuff like that. But we're not trying to rush this whole thing. We don't want to be one of those people that just seems like we're jumping on a bandwagon.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're working with some audio features here for Veggiemates, which of course we'll get to in a second. But before that, Brian, hit me with what you got going on, man. Or Beestives, as I should say. I'm sorry. Big
Yeah, yeah.
Banana. I don't know which one I'm using.
So I look like I'm 12 years old, but I do have a lifetime of experience. So I started my career. I actually went to school for programming, but I ended up getting into sales and marketing and spent the first decade of my career there, and decided to get back in touch with my technical roots. So I went back into engineering. I manage a team. I work at a pretty large tech company. Been there for a while, and I've been in like 8 different positions. So I've seen a lot of the business. And when I started, it was a 200-person company. We're about an 8,000-person company now. So I witnessed us go through this like hyper growth. And through that, I learned a lot of lessons about scalability, and things that work for you when you're small don't necessarily work for you when you're big. And those are some things that we try to think about as we're going through our project. And Paul and I were actually, he's my brother-in-law, and so the same people that got him into crypto got me into crypto. So it's funny, my mom was the one who got us all into it. And
Wow.
she was like always into like pyramid schemes and stuff. And so he was telling, it was like $200 Bitcoin, I think, when she was telling us, and we're like, okay, mom, sure, like we'll check it out. And then my sister, who I usually do listen to, and when she started telling me about it, I was like, okay, I gotta listen. It was right when Ethereum came out, and ever since then, I just went down the rabbit hole. Decentralization just resonated with me so much. I know, like, Paul sent me the Charles Hoskinson whiteboard talk, and
Hmm.
I just saw this way bigger future for decentralization. And it was funny because less than it was probably like 7, 8 months ago, I reached out to Paul and I was like, dude, do you know anybody that just talks about crypto as much as you, like besides me? And he's like, no. Like we just talk about crypto all the time. We own a mining rig together. And
That's
just
sick.
we live this stuff. And I, much like Paul, like my goal is to work in this space. Like I really do want to do this full time. Because I am really passionate about the technology. I spend almost every day converting people over. Not and I don't talk about the financial gains. I talk about the power of decentralization, and the financial gains are a good bonus. But like, I had a couple people text me or yell at me during this bear market. What's going on, Brian? And it's just like I can't tell you what's gonna go up or go down, but it doesn't change my belief in blockchain.
It's cool to find your tribe in crypto once you like find people on Discord or people through various communities, because you don't get a lot of chance to talk about crypto and NFTs in person, right? Like you don't have, unless you're like living in LA or NYC or just get lucky to be having a group of people in person. A lot of times all those conversations are happening on Discord or remotely. So yeah, it's cool to find your tribe here. I want to have a tie in here to Cardano. Obviously, VeggieMates is built on Cardano, and it launched in that 2017 timeframe. Were you, obviously you didn't know that you were going to launch at VeggieMates eventually? NFTs weren't really a thing. There was CryptoKitties at the time, but did you have some sort of inkling that Cardano was something that you were interested in? And back then in 2017, how did you tie that in to now building your project on that protocol?
Yeah, we're I mean, me personally, big Charles fan, and I was watching Cardano as it came out, and I aped in right when it came out, which worked out pretty well because it was like 4.5 cents or something like that. Um, the staking mechanisms, like I said, I'm a big fan of it, so I was just naturally drawn to it. And then I kept my eye out on it when it started having NFTs. But being from Ethereum, I was very skeptical about the whole send my money and hope they send me the asset like process. Because that's kind of how it was before we had marketplaces on Cardano. And even when the marketplaces came out, CNFT.io, that was the mechanism, is that you would send and then the seller would have the choice to complete the sale or reject it. Because it was
No
What?
all
smart
operating without
contracts,
smart
yeah,
contracts.
yeah.
Wow, I
So
had no idea.
yeah, which actually really made the community that much stronger. And I know community is such a big word, but it literally wouldn't have functioned without people talking to each other because it wasn't automated out. So the process involved people pretty much like negotiating with each other.
Mm.
And we just, I don't know, once Cardano came out, like I said, we had our little text group. We put that text group together because we wanted to be early adopters in the Cardano NFT, the CNFT network, because we think there's so much potential there because they're building that blockchain the right way, like from the ground up structure first, looking for longevity. And that we're very into that.
Yeah, before we move on, Brian, I'd love to get your take on this as well. Did you have some kind of like leaning towards Cardano in those early days that now led you to build Veggiemates on Cardano?
Yeah, so I'm definitely not a maxi on any particular chain. I hold Ethereum. I actually I love Ethereum. I love the layer twos like Matic and Harmony One. So it's not that I'm a maxi, but when I look at, okay, what's gonna be a chain that's gonna proliferate, like in particularly a layer one, a couple check boxes are for me. How decentralized is it? And is it proof of stake? If it's those two things, then it has a good chance, right? And when you start looking at the top tokens, unfortunately, one of the ones that might have checked those boxes was Luna.
Mm.
So they're off the list. And Cardano just really stood out to me. And I have gotten into like dApps and DEXs and in the ecosystems, but it was Binance where I really learned about dApps because even though it's like very centralized, it was a very smooth experience. And so when I heard smart contracts were coming to Cardano, I became very bullish on it because I know that the way Charles is building it, he's about plan first, not act first, and it's one of those things people have been kind of calling it like a ghost chain or like, hinting that it's vaporware because it had no actual utility for a very long period of time, but it's being built and being actually a builder on Cardano, we're seeing it happen firsthand right now. And I really, really do think that Cardano's never been hacked. The network's never gone down, and Hydra is coming out, and what that means is Cardano's going to be scaling up to 100,000 to a million transactions on a layer one solution, and so it just checks all the boxes for me.
Mm.
And it's not the only one that checks all the boxes, but I wouldn't say there's a lot on that list for me right now.
So why initially go with Cardano and not just the standard, hey, we're going to launch our NFT within the Ethereum ecosystem? Obviously, there's a lot of advantages to that ecosystem. There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of people there. Why take the road less traveled with Cardano? And what is the difference that you see now between maybe the Cardano ecosystem and the Ethereum ecosystem? So kind of a two-part question that I always seem to ask.
Yeah, so the reason we chose it, like kind of Paul said, the community is very tight knit because before smart contract, we do have smart contract marketplaces now. But before that happened, like you had to talk to people. That was the only way to get things done. And what ended up happening is like these very tight knit communities. And for us, that was a big part of our project, was having a positive community, helping with like mental, physical, financial wellness, having some like really deep discussions. So we wanted to be on a chain that was a little bit more personal for some of those reasons. The second one is barrier to entry. That is one of the challenges for Ethereum onboarding. Is if you live in the States or you're an early adopter, no problem. But like if you live in a third world country, the barrier to get in is a lot higher on Ethereum. When people, our first mint was 50 ADA, which now is like $25 or something like that. That's a very low entry point for most people in the world. That's like something that is obtainable. And you're not going to see that on Ethereum, right? Because of the gas fees. Even if the gas fees are low, you're not going to see a $25 NFT on there. So we're actually releasing our drop. It's 40 ADA for whitelist and 60 for public. You put that into dollar amounts. I mean, most people around the world can have the opportunity to participate in that, and so I really do like that low barrier to entry. It's a way to onboard new people that might have been too scared to like go all in on ETH NFTs. So those are two big reasons for me.
You got anything there, Paul, as far as the differences you see there between Ethereum communities and maybe the Cardano ecosystem?
Um, yeah, like I'm like Brian too. I'm not a maxi at all. If anything, I really believe in interoperability being the future and all the blockchains existing in this like cohesive kind of working together fashion. Um, but it's just way more punk rock.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love Cardano. It's very much, it feels like it's for the people. Like all the things that Brian just said, it's accessible. And one of the things that, and he mentioned this earlier, but I can't stress it enough, is that it is one of its mission statements is to truly be globally decentralized. That's why they're trying to give access to it in countries and places that don't typically have access to blockchain technologies. And that's what's up, because everybody in England and America that's reaping the benefits of Ethereum, there's a whole big world out there that needs to get in on this too. So I'm into those projects that are out there trying to connect the globe.
Yeah, I'm interested in this piece that you mentioned of having an NFT that maybe is only like $50 or $100 or $200 as opposed to $8,000. I mean, you see Moonbirds and other deeds and all these things. They're just extremely expensive to get in. Have you seen that effect of like having new users come in to your ecosystem and just be brand new because that barrier of entry is so low? Have you seen a ton of that where maybe you see more experienced people in the Ethereum ecosystem?
There's a lot of people who just this is their first NFT, and so we are seeing people transition from Ethereum to Cardano, trying to like catch the next thing, right? But I wouldn't say it's all that. Like a lot of people are brand new to the chain or brand new to NFTs. A lot of people have never used the DApp in their life. Um, yeah, so there are a lot of people that are just on Cardano because that's what their friend showed them, right? And their friend could talk them into it because it was, hey, $50. So yeah, I actually do think it's bringing new people into crypto.
That's awesome, man. I want to give a quick shout out to the chat really quick. Guys, this is the Nifty Q Show. We do this every Wednesday, Thursday live here, but you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff afterwards if you miss us. Hash Rhymes, Prodigy, Jesus, Space Smells Like, Smashing Patty saying Team Junkies, Jesus is saying Team Virtually Made, Chris is saying Team Veggies. So we got like a bunch of battles here in the chat for hashtags that we'll get into here in a second. DA, Santino, and Bradley is saying Dot is ETH 2.0. Gavin Wood knows best. I'm interested how you guys view other, layer ones. There was a mention of Polkadot there. Do you guys view other layer ones as competitors, or do you view other, layer ones as, do you even look at them? How do you guys kind of see other layer ones play out?
Yeah, I mean, I look at all of them, and then I try to own as many as possible. My portfolio has an insane amount of coins on it because of that.
Love it.
But
So you're doing well though.
well, not at the moment.
Yeah, true.
Depends on when I bought it. All the stuff I bought in 2017, doing pretty good.
There you go.
I don't think the maxi mentality works. And I explain this to people. So the New York Stock Exchange does 4 million transactions per second. The fastest blockchain right now is Solana at like 30,000 transactions per second. When Ethereum moves to proof of stake, it's going to go up to like 10,000 transactions per second. ADA, when we have Hydra, I say even if we get up to 1 million transactions per second and it was that fast, that's not enough by itself to become like usable technology compared to what we have today, because inherently decentralized databases are less efficient than a centralized database, because I need to go out to all these people to verify my transactions versus just going to one place and saying, hey, is this true or false? And so if we really want to get to like full scale adoption, what I think is going to happen, like Paul said, interoperability needs to be there. Layer twos are going to be a part of the solution. And I also do think blockchains are going to find their use cases. Like VeChain, their big use case is logistics. Ethereum's probably going to be used more in the financial world. Cardano, I could see being used as more of like an everyday currency because like the low fees.
Hmm.
But I really do think all these different layer ones, they are gonna find their different niches. But there isn't, I just don't see a scenario where one takes all unless somebody figures out how to scale up to billions of transactions per second, which like no one's anywhere near that right now. That's not even a pipe dream for anybody. And but that's what it takes to run the current centralized infrastructure we have.
Paul, you mentioned being down on your bags. I think we all are. Obviously, it's not like we mentioned earlier. It's kind of bear market sentiment right now. A lot of that has to do with Terra Luna, right? We saw the situation happen with their peg stablecoin. We saw kind of what's happening to the token. I think it's down 99% at current rate, something like that. I'm interested in what the Cardano ecosystem looks like right now. I mean, I would love to hear about some other NFT projects that you've maybe made partnerships with. But is there like a DeFi component where you guys are looking at it now in your own ecosystem saying, let's not have the fact that one DeFi DApp destroys our entire chain? Do you guys, is there something happening on Cardano like that where you see DeFi apps kind of being a little bit risky and it might put your own protocol at risk, or the protocol that you guys are in?
So far, no, I don't. Like Steve was talking about earlier, when we were playing around with the BNB DApp like ecosystem, we saw a lot of those yield rewards, like promising percentages in the hundreds, 500s, thousands, and those uh, those kinds of rewards are not sustainable, and that's why a lot of those coins plummeted in value, like to pretty much nothing. I mean, it can't go to zero, but pretty close to it. And so far in all the dexes that I've seen in Cardano, all of the there's a lot more caution coming out with what they're farming, like what they even offer as yield farming, and then the yield percentages are a lot more reasonable.
And it just, for better for worse, Cardano's a little bit slower moving. It's a little bit more methodical, and a lot of the things like we don't even have a stable coin yet.
Got
We're just getting oracles, so we are very early to the party. But I think just the overall approach, and I think the creators in the space share a similar methodology. Like our project as well, we do try to walk before we leap, and it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be a bunch of bad situations. Like there's no way to ever predict that. But I really do think because we're taking like a more methodical approach when things are being implemented, they're being implemented with a lot of intention. And I mean, for me personally, I'm like really bullish on DeFi on Cardano because most people don't even know it exists. Most people still think it's a ghost chain, but like Dexes just came out within the last couple months, and Dexes really started working in the like not that long ago. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of these tokens are just being created, and one of the things I do say about Cardano and why I'm very bullish on it, and this is like my counterpoint to anybody who says it's a ghost chain, it's still a top 10 coin. So it's been a top 10 market cap coin for a pretty good amount of time with zero utility. But unlike Doge, which has no real utility to it, utility is actually being built on Cardano because there is smart contracts, and that's why I'm very bullish on it. It's like it was top 10 based off of hype.
Yeah.
Like, but now there's going to be actual building going on, and we're literally seeing it firsthand. And smart contracts came out in November last year, or sorry, September last year. So they haven't even been around a full year, and that's when development started. So we're just getting that point. Our smart contract marketplaces came out like 4 or 5 months ago. Dexes just came out. DApps are barely getting online. Like
Right.
it's just getting started.
You put that in perspective of something like Ethereum, where Solidity and documentation on it has been out for years now,
Yeah.
so people can just build real quick.
Mm.
Whereas we're in this place where we just need more devs to come in and learn the Plutus Pioneer program and yeah, just start building.
Yeah, you guys are definitely just starting, and it seems to have a high ceiling with everything that's being built there. I guess I guess the question was like related to what happens in a situation where is there a Terra NFTs? Are there like Terra blockchain NFTs? Because those are completely like irrelevant now. I mean,
Yeah.
they might have to find another chain at this point. So I think it will lead to a little bit more awareness of other projects in your own ecosystem. So based on that, what are some actual like places people can go to like learn about other Cardano dApps? What are those exchanges that you mentioned? What are some like NFT marketplaces on Cardano if someone's interested in checking those out?
Yeah, first off, I own the most expensive Luna NFT.
Yeah,
Um,
Luna has NFTs. That's yeah.
yeah,
Yikes.
I bought like the crypto punk of Luna, and yeah, that thing tanked. It was
Wait, what
worth.
happens in that environment? So tell me what is happening right now. So is there liquidity? Are people buying Luna NFTs still?
Oh, dude, no, Luna's donezo. Like, yeah, no, I bought this back when Luna was like, $100 or whatever. So, no, I don't think. Honestly, Luna NFTs never really caught on too much. It was actually a really good experience. Everything I ever did on Luna was like pretty smooth, honestly. But yeah, we all know how that turned out.
Gotcha.
Um,
Tax write off.
there you go. Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's the way to look at
Boom.
it. I don't have a lot of gains to write off this year, though, unfortunately. um, yeah, I don't know. So a couple of the most popular the most popular marketplace by far is JPEG.store, JPG.store. That's where you could go check out NFTs. And then in terms of dexes, there's a few that have came out recently. Everybody hears about Sunday Swap. I've tried to use it. It's all right. Min Swap for me has been amazing. Like I've used a lot of dexes in my life, and it's up to par for sure. It's super smooth. So MIN Swap, that's one that I definitely, not financial advice, but definitely recommend people check out. If most people have some Cardano. I mean, there's I think over 1 million wallets out there. Uh, throw a little bit in there and just get your hands dirty. That's my best advice. Like just touch the technology, try it out, understand it, because until you got a little bit of skin in the game, you're really not gonna fully comprehend it. So that'd be my best advice. Just like check those places out. Take 50 ADA, which 20 something dollars right now, and just play around with the marketplaces.
How supportive has the ADA or the Cardano team or foundation been to growing new projects? Are they helping you guys out? Is there a fund for development and all these different things?
Well, you have to apply for those. I mean, how many NFT projects are out there, So it's like kind of trying to see the snake in the tall grass, it's impossible. So yeah, but they have a great what's it called? A grant program, but you have to apply and get approved and all that good stuff. And we haven't taken that initiative yet, even though we've talked about it.
Yeah, it's something that we're definitely considering as we develop more technology, but it is really cool. It's like community-based voting, and so there is a fund. They are supportive. It's interesting because IOHK is like a private company that helps build Cardano, so they took a little bit of a different approach there. But in general, there are a lot of sub communities because it does feel very tight knit in Cardano. So
Mm.
like you know someone who knows someone, and it feels kind of like you know everybody sometimes. And we're at a spot right now, even though you know it's a relatively big market cap, where there's a pretty low barrier to entry to anybody. And like an example, Charles, the creator, he gets on Twitter Spaces all the time, and you could raise your hand, get up there, and ask him a question, and he'll answer it, and he'll answer it truthfully. And to me, like I know that can't last forever. It's not scalable for everybody to talk to Elon Musk, but it is really cool that you get to talk to the creator. It's cool that I could reach out to pretty much anybody in the space and they'll get back to me. So right now we are in that like tight community spot, which I really love because we are all building this together. And like Paul said, there isn't a how-to manual written yet. There is no Cardano for Dummies yet. So we kind of have to help each other right now in order to do this, because a lot of us are innovating and doing things that haven't been done.
Yeah, I got that feeling when I was. I mean, we've interviewed hundreds of different projects, so we can kind of feel when a community is good or not, or active or not. And when we had Veggiemates on NFT Live, I think what 4, 5, 6 months ago. I don't even remember the last time we had you guys on. We could feel that hey, this is a community that's tight knit. You can tell things are going on. It's not just another kind of run of the mill, project. And I definitely salute you guys for what you're building with Veggiemates. So, I mean, it's 30 minutes in. We should probably talk about the project. Let's do it. Let's talk about you guys founding Veggiemates really quick, and then the journey since we had you on last time, and up to what we've got coming up this week.
Yeah, so in terms of the founding of Veggiemates, like it all started with just what can we do to push the space forward. Like I said, we want to make a living doing this, and we believe that sticking to status quo is feeding into the fad, and fads fade, right? But if we build technology that helps push the space forward, if we push the envelope, then we're contributors to the space, and that's where we have longevity. And so one of the things for us is it started with the art, and our artist had this concept. We're actually inspired by Mr. Potato Head originally, because he's kind of like an NFT, He's got all the different
That's fair.
parts.
Attributes.
And then he drew a banana, and like that's where it all started. And one of the things we decided was, hey, let's not go for the same base layer. Let's use different base layers. And so our Vegemate set actually has 10 different base layers, 3 recolors, so a total of 13. And that's a really challenging thing to do from an artistic standpoint, because they're different shaped, they're different colors, and it's one thing that isn't very prevalent, because obviously it is easier to draw in the same exact circle every single time. And so when you're placing a head trait on a banana versus placing it on a watermelon, those are two very different objects. So from a generative art standpoint, we're pushing the envelope there. But also in terms of like a lot of the utility we're building and setting out to build, we're trying to do things differently. So the Veggiemates brand, in the IP is Veggiemates First Junkies. It's actually intellectual property under the Virtually Made brand. So we have a larger company, and the company's mission is to bring fulfillment into the life of others through entertainment. So we are building an entertainment company, and it's focused on animations, games, music, and it's really like a broad scope. And our thought is, let's bring people entertainment, and that will bring them into that's what will onboard them, is like engaging them in a funny comic, engaging them in a funny animation short, having them play a game that they actually enjoy to play, and not just playing it to make money, right? Playing it because it's fun. And the reason we're on the blockchain, so anybody can start an entertainment company. But the reason we chose blockchain is because we want people to own their entertainment. So that's our slogan. And what that means is you're not just a viewer, you're not just watching a cartoon, you're not just reading a comic. You actually get to own a part of that comic. And we can talk a little bit more about it, but we're adding layers of customization so the content that you do consume, you get to tailor it to your liking, and you get to put your version of that content, and you get to own it, and not just be a participant, or not just be a viewer, but actually be a participant in that ecosystem.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit of those features then. You've got the franchise pass. Greens token is coming out within the next couple months. Let's talk about those kind of features you've done. I think you have like metadata augmentation, which is a cool, little piece there that shows me that you're innovating more than just kind of like having a mint and then having a second mint and all these different things. I love to see different innovations coming from NFT projects. So tell me a little bit about the franchise pass, junkies, and Greens token.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
really it kind of comes from the story of Veggiemates versus Junkies. The year's 3021, all humans are gone. All that's left on the earth are vegetables and junk food, and they have to eat each other to survive. So that kind of inspired the level up system.
Yeah, and what's also cool? So we got the Greens token. It's interwoven into the story. So if you think about like Marvel, I think they have like the Tesseract, or usually the central point of a story is like money or power, right? And greens we've actually interwoven into our Veggiemates versus Junkie story. So the Veggiemates like consume the greens more naturally, while the junkies like take the greens and they distill it down and like inject it and take it in more crude ways. And so what's really cool is like we integrate the token into the story, but the way the token works is it will be the primary currency of our ecosystem. And so example utilities would be the game. There will be like some play to earn mechanics there. There will be token staking. But yeah, the franchise pass is something that we've been working on that's super cool. So the Veggiemates got to eat the junkies got to eat the Veggiemates. So what happens when you eat a Vegemate? What happens when you eat a junkie? It actually will level up your Vegemate, or it'll level up your junkie, and your veggie will become a vigilante. So it'll become like a hero. And so, a metadata augmentation could be like a change of name, adding a cool theme song to your vigilante, adding some other stuff that we can't talk about that's going to be super cool. But what we really want to do when we talk about create your entertainment, own your entertainment, is maybe you get an NFT and you're like, man, I love this thing, but I just wish it had like a little bit of a different hat on it, or I wish it had this little tweak on it. Um, the reason we're calling it a franchise pass is once you reach a certain level, think about it like a game pass where they come out with seasons, and each season new skins get dropped or new items get dropped, right? And then if sometimes like if I've been playing a game for the last 3 years or whatever, I might have access to certain items that are a huge flex because this is my proof that I've been in the game since back in the days. I'm an OG here, right? And so that's where the metadata augmentations are going to get really fun, because you're going to be able to say, you know what? I feel like rocking my Christmas candy cane eyes right now because I got those back in 2022, 5 6 years ago. And then taking that customization one step further and doing things where, if you're reading a comic, what if the main villain, or what if the superhero was your version of the superhero? Instead of us dictating what the superhero looks like, you get to take your character, you get to take your vigilante, and you get to put it into the superhero role, right? So that's where I think that we're doing something that I haven't seen yet, where you just have that layer of personalization and ownership in the actual entertainment you're consuming.
How does the actual like details of consumption go from, does it get burned? Does a junkie get burned by eating or being eaten, or how does all that detail work within the ecosystem for like leveling up, and how does that change maybe the value of these different NFTs that you've seen in your ecosystem up to this point?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I don't know. There's a term called policy ID. So basically, you the veggies are on a policy ID, the junkies are on a policy ID. Then there's going to be a third set created, and yes, when a veggie eats a junkie, the junkie is going to get burned. So the two original sets are going to decrease in supply. So we have a 10K set and a 10K set, and the maximum amount of vigilantes and junkies would be 2,500 apiece. So it'd be a 5,000 set, and at that point, both of the other two armies would be depleted down to nothing. What happens with that, with the market, what people decide to do, that's all very tricky. That's up for the market to decide. Honestly, I'm very curious to see, because like I know for me, I'm a level up. I'm a junkie, so I'm gonna eat all my veggies. I'm sorry, but like they're all going down, and because there is token staking involved, that's a component of the consumption, right? So when you consume one or the other, you also consume its green's earning power. And once you reach a certain threshold, there's going to be a surprise there on that front. And basically, your green's absorption, you unlock your full potential there. I can say that much.
So
And
there is like a cap to the amount that you can consume. Like you're eventually going to get to a certain level.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could eat up to 3 veggies or 3 junkies right now.
Got it. Paul, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on this process. I know you said the audio component for the vigilantes as well. That's something that you're potentially working on. So give me a little insight on your upcoming features being launched here.
Yeah, well, it started out making music for the turret defense game, which was really fun because going completely out of my like stuff I've done before, I'm making 8-bit hip hop.
Like
And
it.
then the junkies are going to have a different feel. But anyway, so I've just been writing all of these different like soundtrack songs, and yeah, this level up idea with augmenting the metadata is really cool. I'm really excited about it, and then being able to contribute music into the process is great because that's definitely something I know how to do. I know the people that can help me make sure it sounds awesome in the end. It's another thing where I'm kind of in my comfort zone. But the whole when that idea came up, and then the devs were like, "Oh yeah, sure." We're like, "Really? Let's go!"
Yeah.
Because it's a really it's a clever idea that really ties into the story, and I'm really excited to level up. And I'm also Team Junkies, so sorry, veggies.
What medium are you telling the story in? You mentioned like you have this whole lore. Is this happening in blog posts? Is this happening in videos? Like, how are people experiencing the story that you guys are kind of launching or evolving?
Actually, if you go to our website, Veggiemates NFT, or just Google Veggiemates, we have pretty good search engine optimization. You'll see our video on our website, giving you kind of the rundown, and it's a pretty good explanation. One of the things we've been working on in the background that we haven't released is, so we are going to get cracking on our comics, because for us, world building and bringing these characters to life, like that's where we're very excited about, because we literally are creating character arcs. We have created character arcs for a lot of our core superheroes already. So we have like their backstory, their childhood, their interactions with each other, their personality types, and we actually have a couple like pretty well thought out timelines already and storylines. And so we're gonna bring those together through a comic at first, because I really do think that's gonna be the most realistic medium to deliver. And that's going to give us the opportunity to really build the foundation of our story. Because one of the things you're noticing here is we're trying to take the real life and we're trying to blend it into the story. So like what I really love about the Greens token is it's a part of the story, but you can also own it in your real life. And then taking the franchise past ideas and then implementing that into the comics as well, and having like a level up be a part of the comic. And so yeah, I think we're gonna start off with the comics. The games are gonna be another medium as well, and then animations. Like I'm a huge fan of animations. I'm a huge fan of storytelling through different mediums. So I know not everybody's gonna gravitate towards one. Not everybody's gonna love the comics, but they might love music. They might love games and they might not like comics or whatever it is. They might like animations. They might not want to read. But we that's why we want to hit people from different angles because not everybody consumes the same type of entertainment.
Yeah, I definitely was consuming a lot of video games as a youngster, and you mentioned tower defense, and that brought a little nostalgia back for me. So tell me a little bit about the tower defense game, and then kind of maybe a deadline by when you think it might be out.
Yeah, so the if actually on our trailer video on our website, we got a little sneak peek of the tower defense game built in Unity. So we do have a game dev on our team. We're actually in talks with the game studio right now, where it's just more efficient to work with them. They already work in the Cardano space, so they have a proven track record there. Um, I hate giving out timelines, like firm timelines, so I'll give you like a maybe. We're probably like end of year, early next year is the target that we're shooting for, but there's a lot of variables in there. We don't want to rush it. We want to do it when it's appropriate. But we're really focused on story building because like the reality is there's tower defense games out there. What's original about our tower defense game? And like I love tower defense. So does Paul. That's why we picked it. What's going to be original about our game is the storyline. So it's very important that we develop personality behind it because at the end of the day, most tower defense games are fairly similar. I think where I haven't seen a lot in the tower defense game world is like actual story arcs and bringing the characters to life because I grew up playing RPGs like Final Fantasy and stuff, and I got very attached to the characters, and that's what I remember about the games more than the gameplay itself. And so for us, like that's a really core component to building the game. And obviously with our Junkies Mint going on right now, our token, a lot of our focus has been more in like executing and technology right at this moment. But we definitely want to get back to storyboarding and building out our world.
Yeah, I don't want to take this into like a whole nother direction, but something you mentioned there was like being cognizant of when you launch it, right? Like
Yeah.
just not just doing it to do it. And I think a lot of NFT projects get caught up in this with their token as well, with just, hey, we want to put out a utility token and this is going to be awesome. And then they don't really give thought of it down the line. So give me a little bit of like thought process there as it comes to your token and saying that, hey, this is the right time. You know, June or whenever you guys plan on launching it is the right time, and we're ready to do this. Moving from an NFT project to now a kind of full-fledged ecosystem with your own, you know, quote unquote currency in a way.
Yeah, the greens token. It's going to be a game changer for us. I think I'm so sorry. I kind of spaced on the question there. Can you say it again?
Yeah, it's
My bad.
just talking about the greens token, man. I think it's just when you add a utility token to an NFT ecosystem, I feel like it can start to your project gets bigger. You know, people have different expectations. So the team has to think about it, twice as much in a way, because now you have both a fungible and a non-fungible token. So kind of just your thought process around saying, hey, this is the right time to do this for us.
Right, totally. It's really the right time because Cardano and the timing of where Cardano is in its like lifespan. with smart contracts coming out and the need for native coins to have utility within the Cardano ecosystem. It's teaming, like Brian said, it's a top 10 coin with a very big market cap that will definitely circulate into these coins that come out that provide a really good utility and real usage. And that's why we are being very meticulous with how we're doing this. We're going through all of the legal due diligence that we can. We have studied so many white papers, have crunched so many tokenomic numbers, have looked at what's worked, what hasn't worked. And yeah, we're just trying to do everything that we can with all the experience that we have to ensure that our token will sustain a good value for a long time.
Yeah, and like in terms of marketing timing, obviously there's more favorable times than others. Our one of our core principles is to develop content and not build our business based off of pure hype, because hype's a part of it, right? You got to throw some sticks in the fire to get the flame going, but at the end of the day, you need to have those logs because that's what actually keeps you warm. And so for us, it's like we throw the sticks in there, we throw the paper bags, get a little flame going, but we're building the logs right now. And same thing like Paul said with our token, like we're doing the legal due diligence. We're making sure there's actual utility and purpose to our token. It's not just supposed to be like, hey, buy this token, become a millionaire, and that's our only pitch. And it's like, oh, what does your token actually do? Oh, well, it's a utility token. Oh, but I can't explain any actual practical utility. You can't use it for anything. So for us, the timing is going to be based off of our ability to execute on our promises. And coming from an engineering background, I am in the software business. You learn that you have to be very transparent about timelines, and you have to be very realistic about timelines, because telling somebody I'm going to do something by this time and failing to deliver on that, that's it happens. Delays happen, of course. We're not invulnerable to that, but it shows a lot of time lack of planning, lack of foresight. And if you don't have that foresight, then what else haven't you put your thought into, right? Because the reality is, and I think one of the things that people don't understand is tokens are insanely easy to create. Like once you know how to create a token, you could do that. Not even, it's a very small task to do. Um, and when the hype train comes along, what's going to happen is a bunch of tokens are going to be created. And a bunch of them are going to not have any tokenomics. They're going to be absolutely like, crap coins. And people are going to buy them because they're going to give into the hype. Our hope is that we actually have something meaningful, and it's not just a bunch of buzzwords. We're not out here saying the word metaverse to get hype. Like if we're gonna say the word metaverse, we're planning on building it, right? And I'm not planning on building a metaverse. So like, that's one thing that we're not gonna get stuck in, is saying words that we don't mean. And so when we build our token, when we market it, when we put those logs into the fire, our focus is to make sure, okay, we got to make sure this is actually usable and there's actually functionality. And so it starts with our own personal staking platform. Then it'll transition to the franchise pass. And then from there, really, we want to make it so that our website, you connect your wallet, and that's where you get to interact a lot with the augmentation of your NFTs.
Yeah, guys, we're coming up about on an hour, so I want to have some last questions for myself. Also, open it up to the community if you guys have questions for Beast Dives and Paul here. Definitely ask them in the chat there before we hop off. So, Paul, you were mentioning that you guys were doing research about how to do it, how not to do it. So I'll open it up to both of you guys. Like, what projects that you looked at, NFT projects maybe specifically, that were doing this well, this implementation of both? Right, so I'll throw that up to both of you. In your research, what projects did you see kind of doing this well? And maybe if you want to throw a little shade, what projects weren't doing it so well?
Oh, sure. There's so many.
Yeah.
And just like Brian said, it's really easy to create a token. I have NFTs that are collecting like tokens that do absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
They built nothing to spin them on or any kind of way to use them. Um, you got to look at Ethereum because there's a lot of really good projects on there that are doing it well. Like Axie Infinity is definitely one of the ones where their tokenomics look pretty sound, and we liked their tokenomics a lot. Any other
Well,
ones come up?
and their game actually looks fun. I haven't played it, but I've played other games, and most of them are very lame. Honestly, like I'm like, why would I play this thing? Like this is horribly boring. So
I've
Axie
read
Infinity is
I've
actually
read
one of
like
those.
15 crypto kitties, so that's what kind of game is that?
Yeah, I'm not a big breeding game fan. It's just
Mm.
like make more NFTs with your NFTs. In the Cardano space, there is a actually Paul didn't even mention this earlier, but Clay Nation is one of the biggest
Oh yeah.
NFTs on Cardano, and they it's very unique. Like they made a bunch of clay moldings out of like real life clay, and then they made generative art with it. It's a top two, top three project on Cardano. But they actually just partnered with Snoop Dogg. But before that, they partnered with Good Charlotte. So Big PT actually has a clay of
Nice.
him, and they're integrating music. They're doing a land sell, so they are taking like a more traditional path. But what I love about their team is that when they say they're going to do things, they execute on them. And a lot of this, you're just betting on people, right? And me personally, like I do like betting on docs teams with like real life experience. It's a reason we docs is because that's what we care about. Because it is kind of scary to like put a big investment in something and not even know who the heck the person
I love
is.
how
Like,
we're an hour in. I haven't asked you guys about that Azuki drama. It's like literally
uh,
1 week in NFTs is like, oh yeah, already forgotten. So on to the
Right?
next. But do you take some of that where you're talking about getting into projects that have Docs founders? What do you make of that Azuki stuff? That Azuki drama that was going on.
I think that's exactly why it matters because like
Yep.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to be a creator because you hear the story about the lottery winner. You hear the story about the kid, the 14-year-old kid who made like a well project and sold out and made millions and you're like, "Oh, I could do this." But the reality is it is insanely hard to be a creator and it's hard to sell out a mint. It's even harder afterwards. And to produce the content you said that you're going to produce, it is not an easy task. And when you don't have skin in the game, when you don't have a reputation at stake, when you're just this anonymous online figure, I could see how somebody could call it quits and just be like, I made my money, I'm out, right? Because there are a lot of tough
That
days. Like I have a lot of tough nights. I was up till 3 a.m. last night working, and I had to get up this morning to get on the show, and it just it can get to you, and for me, I'm very doxxed. Paul's very doxxed. This is my reputation. This is my livelihood. I'm trying to build a career out of this. I can't sit here and give people a bunch of lip service, not deliver, and then rug pull, because that's gonna be on my name, and I don't want that on my name. And it's not to say that doxed people can't rug pull, because that has happened, but the chances are way lower.
Put it on
Because
your
yeah, it's all
LinkedIn,
about having
rug
skin
puller.
in the game. What's that, Paul?
Put it on your LinkedIn, rug puller.
Yeah, exactly.
Paul, do you got any thoughts about Docs teams as well, other than making that LinkedIn history a little bit harder to make?
I prefer Docs teams. I see both sides of the coin because back in 2017, Docs teams were the thing to help sell out ICOs. They would put some famous person's name and picture on the website, and then all of a sudden, the coin would have credibility behind it. So it goes both ways. I personally prefer doxed teams and knowing what I'm investing in. But the whole, if you want to be like a fundamentalist about it, Bitcoin was started anonymously, so the whole space was kind of started with that anonymous creator vibe. And whenever somebody does it, they're kind of just being true to, the beginnings of the space. So if you want to be all like
Yeah.
fundamentalist about, like I said. But yeah, so I can go either way with that. But personally, doxed, I prefer.
Yeah, people take advantage of that feeling because it is such a thing that's at the core of blockchain, right? You have obviously the founder of Bitcoin being anonymous, so I definitely see both sides as well, but it's probably safer to go with the doc scheme as you guys have laid out here. Any last piece? Oh, I actually had one question from the chat here. Jesus is saying, win black and white exclusive junkies. Like, you don't have to, but they would look sweet. So let's hit on that last piece. You guys got a sale coming up here at, I believe, the end of the week. I think it's the 19th and 20th. Forgive me if I'm wrong. You can make sure to
18th and 19th. 18th
18th and
is
19th.
whitelist, 19th is public. So you're pretty close.
yeah, I
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. We might have a little surprise for you in the future. I can't give away too many details on that, but yeah, the mint is on the 18th. If you hold a veggie, it's a instant whitelist, so it's a 1-to-1 whitelist. Literally, there's people out there who own veggies that are buying junkies just so they can eat them. And the public mint will be on the 19th. Both of them are at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 p.m. UTC if you're in other parts of the world.
Yeah, we also have a
And
friendly little war going on in our Discord right now, where you can sign up to be on Team Junkies or Team Veggies. So if you want to hop in our Discord and join the battle.
What's that
we're
battle look
doing
like
good.
right now? What's the percentages look like?
I
The
think
last I looked,
Team Veggie's winning right now,
yeah, the
actually.
Veggies are up.
It's 219. Oh, it's close. 219 veggies and 207 junkies. So
Oh, come
I
on, Junkies, let's go.
I'll say this much: we were looking at the generations, the art's complete, and it's looking good, man. Like our concept of vegetables versus junk food is very unique. I really don't think people are doing that. And the art's turning out really cool. Like we got Twinkies, French fries, pizza, hot
That's sick.
dogs. Like how can you not be a junkie? Um, what team would you be on?
Now that you said Twinkies, I'm definitely going Team Junkies, man. That's pretty sick that you can. It's cool that you guys are going with like an array of different assets as opposed to saying like, hey, we're just apes or we're just
Yeah.
this. Like you guys are like, there's a lot of uniqueness to the piece, but also you guys like have a commonality. Like you can tell that it's part of Veggiemates, so it's a pretty cool ecosystem you guys are building here. Nice art.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's why we went forward with this because we have all these ideas of how to push the barriers of what's going on right now. So we wanted to get involved and see what we can do. And so far, we're just having a great time doing it.
Absolutely, man. The last question I have for you guys, just from a personal standpoint, there's probably some people here who are trying to, launch projects of their own. You guys have specific experience now launching. I think you said twice, Beast
Hmm.
Dives, that now in not the height of a bull market. Like
Yeah.
what is it? What is that experience for you guys been? And like going forward now, like how do you guys think about this stuff when you're talking about maybe launching in not the biggest hype cycle that we see?
I, I think anytime somebody says, "Hey, I'm gonna start a project. Can I get your help?" I'm always down to help. But my first question is, why? Why are you doing this? And if your why is money, chances are you're not gonna be successful. And the reason I say that is because if money is your only motivation, and you don't have money currently, there's a reason you don't have money. It's because that's all you care about. What ends up bringing money or value into your life is when you bring value into other people's lives. And so you need to have a bigger why than money. The why is what will lead to the monetary benefits, right? And I will say most creators I talk to, I ask them what their why is, and they have a very weak response to it. And the reason that is so important is because you will be tested. It is insanely difficult, like I said earlier. This is not an easy thing to do, and there will be a time where the self doubt kicks in, and you're down on your luck, and you if you come back to money is your driving force, and you're not making money, you're done. You're gonna rug pull. You're gonna close your project up. But when your why is bigger than that, when your why is I want to change the lives of others, I want to up level this game, I want to do this or that. When you have a bigger purpose behind what you're doing, then when a bear market comes, your driving force wasn't money to begin with. Your driving force is something greater than that. And it is something where, like, with the team, before we got started, I literally asked the question, what are we going to do in a bear market? And the answer is we're going to keep doing the same exact thing. Like, obviously, from a funding standpoint, more monetary benefit is good. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anything should change during a bear market if you're building a real project. If you're building a project just to get money, then yeah, build whatever is hyped right now, and do it during the bull market, and maybe get lucky, and then don't dox yourself and do that. But guess what? You're probably not gonna succeed. Like, I just being real, like in the people, when you hear the story about somebody else succeeding, don't underestimate how much work they put into it, because I have heard a lot of projects get written off as, oh, they're only popular because of this or that, and then I talk to the creators and I'm like, oh no, they're actually like doing really cool stuff. Just everybody's not giving them enough credit and saying, oh, just because it's a monkey that they're blowing up. It's like, no, they actually put a lot of work into that. It's not just because of that.
I'm sad I even have to like finish up the like outroing this after that segment right there, Paul. I'm gonna throw it to you to see if you have any last thoughts, man. But Beast Dives, that was a great segment there on making sure that your ethos and your roots are there, even for the tough times, and making sure you have the right intentions in mind when you start a project. So, Paul, I'll let you finish up, and then I'll outro us, man. This has been an awesome conversation, guys.
Yeah, this
Sure,
has been
man.
an awesome conversation. And just like adding on to what Brian was saying, having intentions beyond financial gains is definitely what's going to keep you in any industry, not just crypto, in any walk of life, having something deeper that motivates you. And like I said, that's what got us into actually starting a project, was believing in ourselves and our ideas and our ability to contribute in a great way to this space. And don't worry out there, everybody. Bear markets happen. It's just part of this. Stocks, crypto. It's just part of the ebbs and flows of finances.
Couldn't have said it
So
better myself. You guys outroed us really well. Thank you so much for hopping on the show. I'm gonna have we do NFT lives every Tuesday, Fridays at this point. We're trying to get them here like 3 times a week, where we bring different creators and guys who are just guys and gals who are awesome people in the space. It's like a round table, 3 or 4 people each week. I'd love to get one of you guys on, or both of you on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, if you guys want to come on and talk NFTs and get out of that kind of heads down work that you guys are doing at Veggiemates. So I definitely want to extend that invite. But thank you so much for popping on today.
Yeah, heck yeah. We literally could talk about this stuff all day. So definitely will be in touch. And thanks for having us, man.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, our Vibe, our tribe, thank you so much for tuning in to the Nifty Q Show. We have NFT Live tomorrow, so catch that at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. But we appreciate you stopping by and hearing about Veggiemates. I have Beast Dives and Big PT here. We will see you next time. Bye.